Hey, everybody. Sarah Olivieri here, and I'm excited to be talking to you today about scaling and a few tips that I have for you around scaling. So often, when we're scaling a business, for profit or nonprofit, we get into working harder and harder and harder. And what I want to talk to you about today is scaling really isn't about working harder. The secret to scaling is shifting ownership and delegating outcomes. So when we start a business, when we're the founder, we own all the outcomes. We're the superhuman who makes it happen. But at a certain point, we reach, so we're growing what we can do as a person. But to truly scale an organization, we have to get beyond ourselves working harder. And the tendency is for founders to, just because they're super capable people, to work harder and harder and harder and hit their maximum capacity. And what we actually need to do is, before we hit total burnout, and ideally when we hit the point of this is as much as I'd like to be working and I have some extra to spare, I'm not at full capacity, because we need that extra in order to go through this process of delegating outcomes, which sometimes includes rebuilding our team or restructuring our team so that we can start delegating outcomes and shifting ownership from one person to a team of people. So today I'm going to talk about how that redesigning of outcome ownership will free up your time individually if you're in that, oh my God, I'm working too much state as a founder. And also how it's the thing, if you've been thinking about, your organization, your business is like, should do so much more, and maybe you've built that team a little bit, but it's not all gelling. And if you were to go away on vacation, it would not run without you. And you need to put that in place, or you're going to lose what you've built already. Right? So first point I want to make is that working harder is not, say it with me, it is not scaling. It just accelerates our burnout. True scale is about distributing the work, distributing the decisions among people so that we get more result per effort in and can achieve something bigger than ourselves. So the capacity of our organization, of our business, is really capped by outcome ownership. And so the more people own outcomes, the more we have capacity to do things and to do things well. Right? So who is doing what? Delegation, basic delegation of tasks, and then at your next level, delegation of outcomes, of ownership of decision making is that next level delegation that you need if you're going to truly scale. So one of the first steps in going through this process is kind of redesigning our roles and switching from maybe a more traditional org chart, which I like to call as people in charge of tasks. So if your chart has Susan, and then like Bill and Jane and Chanel report to Susan, right? And then Tony and Rob report to Chanel. That is a people in charge of people org chart. What you need to switch to is a functional org chart, what I call in the impact method, your leadership blueprint. And that is, what are the key outcomes? And when we make a decision at that level, what other levels kind of below, or I like to think of it as like behind, right? Who are trailing behind, what outcomes will that affect, right? So if we change the direction of that we're going in as a business, it's going to affect everybody else's decision making. If we change what marketing tactic we're going to use to reach a new group of people. That's not going to change the whole direction of the organization. It might affect probably marketing tasks, but maybe no function below that. Okay, so the first step is to shift into a functional leadership model where we have a blueprint of the outcomes that we're going to distribute ownership of. And then we need to make sure that we have the right people on our team who are not only aligned with who we are as a business, as a group of people, right? Cultural alignment, whatever you want to call it. We need to make sure that we have the right people on our team who are ready to own outcomes. Not everybody is ready. We can go through like more in depth on another day what makes somebody ready. But you will see there are, if you were to just ask people like, do you want to own a result and have all the responsibility that goes with it? There will be a group of your people on any given team, on your team, I'm sure, who will be like, yes, give that to me. Put me in, coach, right? I want to do it. And there will be other people who will be very clear for themselves. No, thank you. Please just tell me what needs to get done. And it would be my joy and honor to do those tasks. The idea of owning, being responsible for an outcome makes them somewhat uncomfortable, or they just know like that would not be their zone of genius. And I should add that this is something that people evolve through in their lives. So there might be someone who's not ready for that today, who might be ready for that in a couple of years. And there's certainly ways we can evolve our teams so that we bring people along so that they're ready to own outcomes. It's definitely something people can grow into. And in fact, it's a very good idea to build that into your business, because ultimately, the more those high performance players, high performance team members who we tend to talk about, they tend to be people who feel comfortable owning an outcome, who like it, who feel like it frees them to do their best work. The more we have those people on our team, we could have a team just full of those people and they would be rock stars. So it is great to also grow people into that. Okay, so we have our system of functional functions, right? Our functional org chart, if you will. We now have enough leaders on our team, enough people ready to own outcomes, to own those different pieces. Now there's a third ingredient we need. We need the systems that not just allow us to scale, but the systems that allow the collaboration and coordination, because these functions in our functional org chart are interdependent. So we need an easy system to keep that team who are owning the outcomes working together, communicating well, having clarity, not having people step on each other's toes, so that they can communicate and move quickly together as an organized team. And that's often a lot of the work I love doing, right? I'm certainly love helping people rebuild their teams or figure out who they need to rebuild. But the really fun part is when you get to this place where you have the right people and you just need to get them now just in a really, I like to think is I'm doing this, if you're watching, like I'm kind of dancing, because I think of it like a dance. And I think of that when, when I'm leading a team on my sailboat. I do sailboat racing, and my team has to move in a coordinated way. Each person has their responsibility. Everything's interrelated, especially, on the boat, like it's literally one boat we're trying to make go. And everybody needs to know like where to move to have clarity of communication, clarity of movement, nobody stepping on each other's toes, everybody feeling supported and everybody feeling like they are growing. So one of my favorite things to do in business is to help businesses who are like, I've got the great services, I've got the great offer, I've started to build, I've kind of cleared out the team members who maybe aren't the best fit. I've built this leadership team, but now I need it to all like gel together perfectly so that I know that I can step away and it will still work without me, which is the same thing that your business needs for it to start kind of growing exponentially without you fueling it, right? When we start a business in our earlier phases, it's like we're constantly like blowing on the fire. We have to keep feeding it and fueling it. But when we get to this next level, now there's lots of people growing, feeding the fire. So if anybody, any one person steps away, the thing is growing and growing, and it actually gets a momentum of its own. It's not just that there are different people, right, who could step away and the thing would keep growing. People see the growth. It has this like synergistic energy, and then it starts to attracts more customers. It attracts more, if you're a nonprofit, it attracts more donors. If you're a for-profit looking for investment, it attracts investors. It attracts more high-performance team players. They're like, yes, I want to be on that exciting, meaningful ride. So it has an energy of its own. So it is not just that we are delegating outcomes and we have more people to do the things, but it actually becomes bigger than that, which accelerates. That's where we get the leverage from, right? It's not just that we added a bunch of capacity, because if we just added capacity by adding people, we would still have growth, not true scale. Remember, I talked about leverage. So, but we add people and we add systems in this way, and we get leverage because of this momentum type energy and excitement that is all around us. And that's where now, because we have more people making decisions, delegating outcomes, we attract more of everything that we want. And that is where the high leverage magic comes from. That's all I have for you today. If you are like, oh my God, Sarah, can we do that together? I encourage you to reach out. As I'm saying this right now, you can go to pivotground.com/application, fill out a quick form there to tell me a little bit about yourself, and that will take you to a link to get on a call with me. Or you can also, wherever you're watching or listening to this, send me a direct message or an email at sarah@saraholivieri.com. That's SarahOlivieri.com. Until next time, all the best.